All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy.
All right, welcome to episode 453 of the KissFAQ podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill. Today we've got Daniel, able to join us on a Saturday morning or evening. Mark's Almighty Mark.
Greetings.
69th Blizzard Ken.
Hello.
And a very happy Lonnie.
Oh yeah, I'm just a delight this week.
It's been a tough week, so we weren't planning to do a live episode this week, but everything kind of went to hell in a handbasket Thursday in our usual recording time slot. So if you're able to join us today, a big shout out to all the people who are watching us and joining us. We'll be keeping up on the comments as we go along. We had a whole slew of comments or topics, pardon me, ready to go on Thursday, and we're just going to go through those today. And it starts off basically with anyone bought any Kiss shit recently, which gives me a perfect opening to new Kiss magazine was on store shelves, and I saw this posted on, who was it? I think Scambatty posted it on Facebook, and went up to my local CVS, and it was there in the racks there, so able to get that. It's got pictures from the FAQ in it, which I think is absolutely hilarious. That Rolling Stone ad of Peter's with the ads in red, that's my scan. And I haven't had a chance to go through it. Other people have kind of commented on you're not going to learn anything new from it. But you know what? Sure. You may not learn anything new from it, but you're seeing Kiss on a store rack in the United States. Yeah. In CVS or Walgreens or Barnes and Noble in 2023, and that's cool. And it does have a ton of pictures in it as well. I don't give a shit about that scan getting used. That I don't own it anyway. It's Rolling Stones. But Steve, greetings from Oakland. Hey neighbor. Hey, Chad from New York, and Ivar from Bergen. Norsk. Yes,
Norway.
Welcome.
Norway. Hi,
so
neighbor.
Anyone else bought any Kiss crap this week?
Well, you mentioned that. Actually, went in a couple of stores around here. I couldn't find that magazine on the rack out here yet. So I did buy the other one, the Rock Candy magazine issue. What about that?
Boo. Gene Simmons' interview in that is really bad. He goes into bashing Peter again. I mean, he's like a grumpy old man.
Oh, is it again? Wow.
Oh, drumming isn't a real instrument, so Peter's not a musician because you can't copyright a drum pattern.
Anyway, I ordered it.
Well, look what you're going to get. You're really going to enjoy. Paul Stanley's interview is fantastic. Though.
Real great Gene stuff as usual.
Yeah, rehash,
Well, it's celebrating the 50th anniversary of the band with bashing. It's like he's been a member of the FAQ message board for too long. Which previously banned poster is Gene on the FAQ?
Hey, greetings from Iceland.
We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Anyone else that bought any Kiss crap this week?
Well, actually, the Kiss FAQ listeners bought me some Kiss shit last week. And thanks to Lonnie, Julian, Ken, and Mark, and the rest of the guys, I got this beauty. Paul Stanley guitar. Nice. I've been playing it a whole lot. Sounds great. And this is all from revenue from the podcast. So thank you out there. And I know Ken's got the live.
Award? The award?
Yeah. The LI2 award, and Mark's got the Destroy award, and Lonnie's got the Revenge award. I prefer something that you can actually use. So I got this one. Thanks to you guys out there. So thanks a million, and thank you, Julian, for making it possible to do this. It's actually means a lot to me, and it's a great guitar, and I will have a lot of fun with this one.
Well, thank you to the listeners and also the participants on the FAQ, because the ad revenue isn't much, but it does add up, and I like to give it back to the team. They get the good stuff. I get the cease and desists. That's how it should be. So,
Nice.
no, I've actually been dealing with lawyers this week, which is real fun. But there you go. What was the first song that you played on it, Daniel?
Shandy?
No, it wasn't Shandy. It wasn't something off The Elder. It was actually a song off of Lick It Up.
You know
Fits Like a Glove.
There you go.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So I broke it in with Fits Like a Glove. It sounded beautiful. Yeah.
Nice.
That's always important. When I got my Tommy Thayer stage played Explorer, first song I did off that was Psycho Circus.
Very nice.
He actually played it for that song, I think. I have to look at the paperwork. All right, so Ronnie Parker has bumped us into our first topic, which is always going to be discussed. Ronnie, thanks for your comment. I saw Ace live this past Thursday night, first show of this year. It was awesome, surprise of the night. And let's talk about that set list that Ace, pulled out of the deck. He mixed it up. So he's back on the road. I'm just going to read the set list quickly. Parasite, Snowblind, Speeding Back to My Baby, Stranger in a Strange Land, Insane, Getaway, Rock Soldiers, Rocket Ride, Escape from the Island, which was played while Ace was off stage, Love Theme from Kiss, partially played, Detroit Rock City, Rip It Out, New York Groove, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, played while Ace was off stage, Shock Me, Cold Gym with Black Diamond, and Deuce. So that's a pretty freaking good set list. Lonnie, what say you about that? What are your thoughts on it?
Very cool. It really shocked the hell out of me when I saw that the next morning. For several years now, he has been ignoring the Fraley's Comet stuff and not playing it at all. So Strangers in a Strange Land and Rock Soldiers, even if it's just a couple songs, that's so freaking cool. I mean, the people that go to an Ace Frehley show, if you're going to an Ace Frehley solo show, you're a pretty hardcore Kiss fan. If you're not getting the casual Kiss fan that you do at like the amphitheaters when Kiss plays. So if you're going to go see Ace Frehley, you're going to know these songs. So the fact that he was ignoring them for so long was kind of a shame. And the fact that he is playing them now, I think it's great. And Getaway also, Escape from the Island while he's off stage. Okay, that's fine. Love Things from Kiss, just shaking it up a little bit. So I was blown away. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I got stuck on mute. Sorry. Ken, what do you think about the set list? Because you've been to a few shows out here. Are you going to the ones that are coming up in a couple of weeks at the Cornerstone?
No, I'm not going. I thought about it, but I'm not going. But that is a cool set list. Definitely. We were talking about Rock Soldiers just like a week ago or so, I think, and stuff like about the single should have been the first single. So that's a great that he's doing that. And like Lonnie said, Strangers in a Strange Land. That's a great pull there. Getaway. I was like, oh wow. I'm curious though. Did he play anything else around Getaway or leading into Getaway? I don't know, as a kind of opening to it. But anyway, I think that's a really cool song to hear live. And then there's Love Theme from Kiss is kind of interesting. It's Escape from the Island. Escape from the Island, I think that's a cool instrumental anyway from The Elder. But I don't know why he wasn't out there. I guess he's taking his break. Because he was part of that song on the.
He's the one who wrote it, for crying out loud.
It's one of the guys. So I don't understand that, but I think it would have been great to hear it live. Because you don't expect to hear that one live ever. So nice set list.
It sounds like it's good to finally get him mixing up the set list. We talked about Rock Soldiers. We talked about, Insane has been mentioned on the show as a song I'd love to hear live. So, that is a great set list. I'm not able to go to the Cornerstone shows because, number one, I didn't want to pay the 35% or 50% ticket charge on those tickets, and I'm in North Carolina that weekend, so it doesn't matter. Daniel, what do you think about the set list? Nice shake-up, or still room for improvement?
I think it's a good shake-up. I think my favorite Ace album is probably Trouble Walking, and I would like to see more stuff off of that album, like 5 Card Stud and that kind of stuff. But he's been playing the same set list for so many years, so something has happened. I wonder why. I wonder if the band is it the same band as he's used the latest couple of tours?
I think so.
No, he's got Matt Starr on drums, Jeremy Asbrock on guitar, and Ryan slipped into the bass role for this show. Okay. So it was only a 2 guitar lineup rather than what it's been often.
Maybe some of the new guys have introduced some new stuff and new energy into the band, so he's been able to pick up a few new tunes. So I think it's great. It was kind of stale for a while there, so it's good that he has been picking up some other songs. But there's still more songs that he can play. I just wondered, did he sing Getaway, or was it the drummer who sang?
Yeah, the guitar player sang it.
The guitar player. I would like to hear Ace sing that one. Okay. Yeah, well, but I think it's all good. I think it's all good.
Yeah, that is my final comment on it, that it's all good. He shook up the set list, and it just wasn't your standard fare. All right, Mark, I left you till last for a reason. Have at it.
Uh-oh.
Well, I thought the set list was good. I mean, when I checked it, I was surprised to see some of the things like Escape from the Island and stuff like that, but also was kind of scratching my head wondering, why didn't he stay on stage for that? It's a song that he wrote, and he disappears from it. And there are some video clips on YouTube, okay, from a show that he did in Rocky Mount, I believe it is. And they put up Detroit Rock City, they put up Getaway, they put up Snowblind, they put up Stranger in a Strange Land. Now, first I'm going to say the band is great. The band that he has with them is fantastic. They played really good. And there's a comment here that I thought was kind of interesting that it came up just before you got to me. It says here, from MD, a great set list. Unfortunately, over the last few years, the amount of effort Ace puts in tells me that it was carried by the band. Well, I'm not going to say that he was carried by the band this time, but there are obviously quite a few moments where he was carried. Because if you listen to that video clip of Getaway, that was a train wreck. That was terrible. I mean, Ace played it. He wasn't even playing the same chords. He was like half a step off of the guitar player that was with him. It's like the one guy was playing C sharp. He was playing D. It's like they weren't even close. And it's not a hard song. I mean, come on, Daniel, you can tell. You can probably learn that song in 10 minutes. Okay. So I don't know if Ace was just, distracted or what was going on with him. But that song was terrible. But with that said, Detroit Rock City was really good. Snowblind was good. Stranger in a Strange Land was really good as well. And he even sang that. So I just find it hard to believe that such a simple song as Getaway gave him trouble. And he didn't even sing it. He just played the guitar and he still botched it. I mean, come on. But, look, maybe it's early in the tour. Maybe they just dumped that song in at the last minute. Who knows? But overall, I think the show, from what I saw from the clips, the band seems really good. I think the tour will get better and better as they go through it. And hopefully he'll just, iron out these little things that he screwed up during this show.
Well, hopefully he'll put the effort in. And Wolf of Nature, that's a great comment about, wasn't Ace supposed to tour playing his entire 78 solo album record? I don't think that's conducive to being on the road playing his full solo album. Yeah, they did the one performance at one of the expos out east. And then that's all that was ever done of it. I still think that they should do that as a video in a theater or, in a Vegas residency for a week, film it, wear the same shit every night and do it as many times as it takes to put together a video released where that is the core of the release, along with the greatest hits then from the rest of his solo career with a couple of Kiss shit thrown in. But taking it on the road, forget it. I don't see that happening. They're a good band. He has a good backing band, and that's their job, is to carry him, because he is Ace, and he is notoriously lazy and unable to get a Wi-Fi signal to download his own songs to learn them. So they do a great job of backing him up, supporting him, and also helping persuade him to dig out some of these gems.
Yeah,
So it was really nice to see a lot of that happen this week.
Hi, Steve.
And, that Rocky Mount show was the one last night, Mark, just for reference.
All right.
All right, well, let's move on. Next topic is, well, Classic Rock has listed the 50 most important concerts in history. I hope everyone had a chance to review that list. And, we're not going to talk about the list. What is missing and what should not have been on that list in your mind? I saw Alan, who's got a new publication coming out, commenting that it was egregious that some of the Japanese shows from 77 were omitted, or 78. Five Night Stand at the Budokan finally beating the Beatles record would be one that comes to mind for me.
Me too.
Or Dodger Stadium 1998, back in the stadium for the opening of another tour. Not least that it was my first show, but also touring on an Originals album for the first time in 17 years or whatever it was at that point. Ken, what did you think about that feature? What was missing, or what shouldn't have been on there?
Well, number one, what shouldn't have been on there is Dubai.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the last one. Yeah,
that's why I can't even believe they put that on there.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, it's probably the only show that anybody would play during that time period, but what was so otherwise special about it, other than that they won a Guinness Book of World Records? The Guinness guy came out and all that. That was kind of, I don't know. I don't even think they should put that one on there. As for other ones, I definitely agreed with a lot of them. There's, definitely, the reunion and all that stuff. And they started reunion. A lot of them are good where, they have the Poughkeepsie one, right, with Mark St. John on there and other stuff when there's a new, member coming or leaving, or the makeup going on or off kind of thing. I would have liked to see the Cow Palace from the Creatures tour on there, because that was technically the last. It was going to be the last in makeup show in makeup.
Was it
at least in the U.S. It was the last.
Was it the one you attended, Ken?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's why.
One of the three he attended, Daniel.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I was happy to see them put the Eric Singer's first show at the Stone in San Francisco for the Revenge War.
As well.
Yeah, but even before I saw the list, I thought, I would put that one definitely on there, and then I was surprised to actually see it. So someone was doing their homework who wrote that article. But for the most part, I agree. Yeah, there were some missed, like you said, the Tokyo or the Beatles record thing and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was okay. But yeah, there were some on there. It's like, why? I just thought, just because Gene Simmons caught his hair on fire the first time, I don't know about that. I think the following year, a year later, the more significant is when that show where he caught his hair on fire. They were an opener, right, for Blue Oyster Cult. A year later, Blue Oyster Cult was opening for them at that show. That's more significant. I would have rather had that on there.
Yeah, well, you know what? It was worth it for me just for it to have Dubai on, because I knew that would trigger you. Thank you for not letting us down.
Yeah, we're not done with Dubai today either, I don't think.
Oh, we're not done with it by half. Lonnie, on that list, what are some of the ones that stand out for you as being, shouldn't be on there, and maybe some of the ones that were missed?
Yeah, I thought Dubai was I laughed at that. What a freaking joke that is.
Someone did it on purpose just to bother me.
A show in front of no one and a pay-per-view that hardly anyone subscribed to. That's a debacle to this day. It's just very laughable in my opinion. But I think they got it. I think they got a lot of them right. With the reunion shows and things like that, and a lot of the big shows in the 70s. I thought it was really cool how they just really kind of went in chronological order in that. and you're able to follow along. I thought it was cool. I really didn't have. I didn't really take exception to it or have an issue with anything being there or not being there, other than the Dubai thing. I thought was just very comical at the end.
Mark.
Yeah, I have to agree with a lot of the comments made already. I mean, I think the Dubai thing was probably the thing that everybody had the reaction to, mainly because it just seems so silly to do it, and mainly because we know that you can already see Ken's face when he probably read the list the first time and went, "Oh," like he's probably already red-faced from seeing Dubai just mentioned. The one date that I think here that I thought that was interesting that they brought up, because I thought it was a good one to mention, was the return to the club dates when they did the 88, I think it was 88 show, they said, when they played the club in the Ritz there. Yeah. I think that was good, because I think that might have also got caught in their brain later on when they decided to do that whole run of clubs when they did the Revenge album. Because I thought that those shows are probably one of my more favorite shows I have actually on video somewhere, the Toronto date for the club show. So I think that's a pretty important one, because I think it reconnected them with a lot of their core fan bases in certain cities. They are up close and personal with people. They got to hear a lot of the classic songs, and they got introduced to Eric Singer. So I thought that was a really, really important show, in my opinion. So I think that 88 one was probably like the seed that was planted for that sort of thing. But I mean, other than that, there's some other things that they mentioned here that I thought was kind of, odd that they mentioned here, that, some guy quit on air because of something that Gene said or something. And I don't know what that has to do with a live show or anything, but there are some really odd mentions in here, but I think overall the list is pretty good. But like you guys said, there's some glaring omissions, like the Dodger Stadium show and stuff like that. So, but you know how these lists are. There's always going to be something missed and something that's going to make you scratch your head.
Yeah, and Steve, no, they did not include the Cadillac show, and that's a good omission to point out. And to my way of thinking, they also did not include the 1974 Kite Fly. I mean,
that's true.
Kiss playing to 40,000 that early on in their career, but you could also then go on and say that they should have mentioned Manchester 76, their first show outside of North America, or whatever. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, being the most important shows. Yeah, the first time they step foot out of North America is a pretty important date. But again, it's like a best of by artist. It's the same as any top 10 list. It's just someone's arbitrary list. And I think I'm happy to see that they're even mentioning Kiss and doing some of this stuff around the 50th anniversary, because the band sure as fuck ain't doing a thing around their 50th anniversary. Before we move on to that, Daniel, wrap us up on the concert list and anything that you thought was missing other than Stockholm.
Yeah, I think props goes out to the writer, first of all. He must have put in quite an effort to put together 50 important Kiss shows, because I would start off by saying there might not even be 50 important Kiss shows. And the headline, what was the headline of 50 most important Kiss shows ever, or something like that?
Yeah, the Kiss's 50 most important concerts.
Yeah, I think the headline is kind of wrong, because it's more 50 of Kiss's most spectacular or odd concerts, because they include a whole lot. Like when they played like a 3-piece without Paul, that's not an important concert. It was something they had to do in order to grab the money. But I'm at the Creatures Night in your book, Julian. Here, I'm almost through it. A great book, and I would have to say that all important Kiss concerts, I mean, real important Kiss concerts, they took place 1978 or earlier. So I would say after 78, maybe you could add Tiger Stadium 96, Rio 83, and
Palladium 80.
I don't think that was. I don't think that it's important. I mean, it was the beginning.
The first show with a replacement member isn't important.
Yeah, no, it was the star. It was, important. It depends on what you put into the word. I mean, when Kiss actually meant something, it's all in this book up until 78. If you go through this and read the concert reviews, they are hilarious at times. But the way they attracted people and the crowds they got in America, I mean, up until 78, and the craziness, groundbreaking stuff. I mean, after 78.
So you're thinking more monumental than important.
Yeah. What about the one they missed? I'm just thinking of it now. Is did they have that one with Eddie Cannon on drums?
Oh, they did. Yeah, they did mention it. Replacing.
That's
just
there?
awful.
Okay. All right.
That's awful. They shouldn't play that even. I mean, that just shows you that it isn't that important that it can put in any member.
Yeah, it's not important, but it's
it's
for a nerd, for Kiss nerds. It's important from that standpoint.
The guy who put this together, he did a fantastic job. It's an interesting list, but important Kiss concerts. After 78, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, I don't think Brooklyn Bridge was included, but that's a
good one too.
That's a good one too. I didn't think about that one.
But it's more really cool. Andrew, yeah, Brooklyn Bridge, right, Andrew? If you're still watching, which takes us into what I kind of alluded to. Has Kiss missed the boat on celebrating their own 50th anniversary? At least Aerosmith had a bit of an excuse in that COVID was kind of happening for their 50th, but there seems to have been very little other than a tweet or two really celebrating what we as fans probably put up on an altar much more than the guys who lived it. Okay, Mark.
Well, honestly, is this really any surprise to anybody?
No.
I mean, you're talking about the people who are the master of missing the boat and being like 2 years behind trends. Like the fact that they missed their 50th anniversary is no surprise. I would have been surprised if they actually were on time with it. That would have been a bigger surprise, And I mean, look at even just recently now. I see everywhere on Facebook, Kiss to announce last show finally. Every time I see it on there, and people like from within the organization, any day now, Kiss will announce their last show. They haven't done jack shit. They should have did it like back in January, and they haven't announced anything. We're now February 4th, and we still don't have it. That this is typical of Kiss and their management and their whole attitude or everything, that they're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary 2 years from now. You watch, there's going to be something they're going to release in like 2 years from now that's going to celebrate the 50th anniversary, because that's how their clock seems to work. So I'm not surprised in the slightest. And quite frankly, it bothers me because, a lot of people out there take this pretty seriously. The diehard hardcore fans, like the really diehard guys, and they probably are upset by this kind of thing, because it keeps making them look like idiots because they're standing behind their band so rigorously, and they keep making them look like fools. That's what they're doing, There's no other way around it.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Exactly.
So are we insane to expect them to do anything different than what we may consider them missing the boat? Surfer fan, I'm going to bring your comment back up. They still have a whole year to celebrate. Events might be coming up. Yeah, there are a whole bunch of milestones that the band kind of accomplished in 1973 that will be coming up. And the next one will be March, which will be their first shows at the Daisy, followed by, I think March the 7th was the first date that they recorded in the studio for the first demo. Following that, you've got stuff like Hotel Diplomat, the first showcases for Bill Aucoin, blah, 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 all the way through this year. Maybe there is some other date that they think is more important to the 50th anniversary than the birthday. So maybe Gene doesn't celebrate Sophie's birthday. He celebrates it a year or so later when
maybe he celebrates her conception.
Yeah. It may come back to that maybe they have decided that February the 8th, 1974 is the date because that was the release of the first album. Is that where they get their validity? Let's see if I can speak today. Or December the 31st, 1973, where they make their professional debut. Daniel, miss the boat, or does any of that make any sense?
I just think Paul Stanley is always about the now, the current band. He doesn't really care about history, the band's history, and not as much as it should be. So he wants to present the band like Tommy Thayer, Eric Singer, Gene Simmons, and Paul Stanley. This is what is happening. This is what makes sense. This is what we celebrate. History, I don't think he's that much into it. I think his mind is more on the upcoming tour, how they will approach that. Maybe they will put in some more effects and change it up a bit. Yeah. Or cooking. Yeah. That seems to be a big interest. But so Paul is, like the captain, and he's not much of a guy who's looking backwards. He's looking forward. So these type of anniversaries, you need other members of the family to approach these kind of anniversaries. How the fuck do you say it? Yeah, plural anniversaries. You need other guys in the family to approach these kind of anniversaries in order to make something of it, because Paul isn't into it. I think he still thinks it's like current and happening, even though we all know it's nostalgic by this point. But I think he's more focused on the European tour this summer. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that we invest far more in the importance of milestones in the band's history than they possibly can. Ken, say something reasonable.
Well, yeah.
Or one.
Well, where are the marketing geniuses here, for KISS?
Yeah.
That they call them the marketing geniuses, I don't know. I that's fine. They missed it, I guess, an opportunity, which they've done that throughout their career anyway, many times. So, I'm surprised they didn't even sell a 50th anniversary T-shirt, on that day or something, a Coventry or whatever. So I don't know. It is what it is. I guess we are going to hear some things hopefully soon about additional maybe tour dates and some other stuff. Hopefully, I hope. I was kind of hoping that they would release like the other tour dates around that time, maybe U.S. tour dates and that sort of thing. I'm still thinking that's going to happen. Just my feeling, it just makes sense with the open dates in July, August, September, that late July, I mean, through September. I would think something's going to happen there. I don't know where, but I think there will be U.S. dates. But yeah, as far as some kind of celebration, I'm surprised they didn't make a little bigger deal out of it.
And you brought up a good point though, Ken, about the T-shirt. I mean, and aren't we're talking about KISS here, right? And Gene Simmons is the man who doesn't let any monetary opportunity pass him by. You would have thought he would have jumped all over this to have some kind of, guys, I got an idea. 50th anniversary T-shirts. Let's make it happen. And I want to see 100 of them out so I can have my wallet lined with more money. I mean, it just seems like he would be all over this kind of thing to make more money. I don't know why they wouldn't make even something simple like that, a 50th anniversary T-shirt they could put on their store for people to buy. I would have bought it.
There you go.
January the 31st was actually the 4th anniversary of the End of the Road tour, kicking off in Vancouver. But you would have thought, I mean, Gene had a medallion in his vault that they could have at least come up with something, to mark it. 50 years. Yeah. They did, what was it? 40 years of decibels or whatever that thing was for the 40th.
Yeah.
40th anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah. They put up that CD and that. Yeah. I know. I don't know what you guys were talking about. They did send out a nice little tweet that morning. It was the 50th anniversary of KISS. What more do we want? What more do we expect or want from these guys? No. I mean, I really thought that day that we were going to get. I'm with Ken. I really thought that day we were going to get some kind of U.S. tour announcement. Maybe like. I know on the cruise, Doc McGee says something like, 50 more dates for 50 years. Or I thought we'd get, and maybe I'm ahead of myself here. I thought maybe that day we'd get like 50 U.S. dates for 50 years. The last 50 U.S. dates, last 50 North American dates or something for 50 years or something like that. But no, all they did was send out a tweet. Like, okay, that's what we're doing today, I guess. I thought that was extremely weak. I thought we could have done a little bit more to send out a tweet, though.
But they did announce, and that's the title of this week's show, Poughkeepsie 84. Finally announced. Hallelujah. Because I've been waiting for that one to come out. Because
been holding your tongue.
Just knowing that it's not real until it's announced. And anyone who wants to hint about what may or may not be happening, whether it's now or this comment, inferred that a lot was supposed to be happening soon, and we shall see. Yeah, we shall see. When it is announced, then it's real, because you can infer all you want. But here we are. This is a notable show. This is a show that belongs on that list of 50 notable Kiss concerts, because there's only 2.5 where Mark St. John played. And we've got shitty audience recordings of 1.5, and this is the one I believe we didn't have. So this is absolutely outstanding that it's going to be a off the soundboard release celebrating the Animalized tour. Number 2, Eric Carr. Number 3, something most of us didn't have. I didn't even know this existed. So I am extremely chuffed by this off the soundboard. I'm waiting for it to become available on somewhere other than Kiss Online so I can actually order it. Daniel, Animalize got you into, it was Heavens on Fire and into the I've Had Enough, Into the Fire that got you. What do you think about this being announced as the next off the soundboard?
I think it's beautiful because it shows that the guys behind these off the soundboard, they have a clue what they're doing, when they released that 04 show, was it Virginia Beach? I thought these guys don't have a clue what they're doing. But now I think that was a good lesson for them. I guess that one didn't sell a whole lot. So they have started to listen to the Kiss Army. And of course, this is one of the gems that people are looking for. So I'm really excited about this one. And I immediately thought that this would be a good episode for the KissFAQ, the one you did on Vinnie Vincent's solos. I think that was one of the better ones last year when Julian actually did some prep work.
I made an effort.
Yes.
You made an effort. I know you do. I'm just mesmerized when I'm reading this book. How many hours went into this one? So I know you can put in the effort when you have to. But
thank you, teacher.
Yep. You know I am. I sound like a teacher. Okay, but I know.
I feel like I'm getting a report card.
Yeah. So you get an A for this one, an A plus, and maybe a B for the Vinnie Vincent episode. That's a good one as well. So I'm looking forward to going into that. I can't pronounce that.
Poughkeepsie.
Like fucking impossible.
Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, there you go.
So Poughkeepsie.
Nice.
Going into that one, and it would be a great KissFAQ episode on that off the soundboard record. So
I have to say, I have to say, I agree that this is probably one of the more exciting releases. I mean, the last couple of them were good. I mean, I enjoyed them. I did get them either on CD or vinyl. I got Des Moines on vinyl. But when this one came out, at first I was kind of like wondering what was going on with this, because of the sound clips I've ever heard of this guy playing, like you mentioned, they were horrendous audience recordings. So I was thinking, I'm hoping they're not putting one of these brutal recordings on vinyl. But then, after waiting and doing a bit more research on it, obviously it's going to be a proper soundboard recording of it, which makes it that much more exciting. Because I thought about this, and I don't know how many other people thought about this, is that we're going to get to hear a good recording of a guy who we've never heard do songs like Creatures of the Night or songs like that he has nothing to do with. We've only ever heard this guy on album, studio record, and now we're going to get to hear him live doing songs that we never heard him do before. It's to me, that's the most exciting part of this.
Mhm.
You know, to hear him do Detroit Rock City, or to hear him do
Mhm.
Black Diamond, or to hear him do something that he had no involvement with, to see his spin on it. That's the thing that I'm most excited about. I was so excited about it that I actually broke my rule and bought the vinyl off of Kiss Online, which I swore I would never do
Wow.
again, because
You'll
I
get it
did
in
the
November.
worst store ever to buy anything off of. But because, you know, they're going to give us a canary yellow vinyl, and it's going to be something I don't want to
Canary.
pass up on. I'm looking forward to getting this one, and they better not disappoint me and screw this up and tell me it's, you know, 6 months behind pressing or something. I'll be really pissed off then. But, you know, I'm looking forward to this. This should be a great release.
Yeah, this news made me go out and listen to that god awful recording from one of his shows, and I actually liked his take on Creatures of the Night. I went to that tune first because
Thank you,
it's
AB.
kind of a hard one to play, and we've all heard Vinny how he treated the old solos, but I think Mark might put in, you know, some cool riffs into those solos, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Mean Mr. Mustard. Or
Custard.
what?
They call it a custard.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah. All right, Ken. What do you think?
Yeah, custard.
And have you caught any of the very, very brief sound sample that is up on a Kiss Online clip on I think on Facebook?
I saw that. I heard a little bit of that sound sample, which is okay. I mean, it's not much. You're not hearing a whole heck of a lot. It sounds clean though. It sounds really well, you know, recorded. So it is obviously a good soundboard. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, this is a moment in, you know, they say Kiss-tory, big moment where, you know, Mark St. John came in and took over the reins for Vinny. And I've never heard the show. Actually, I don't think I've ever heard the recorded audience one, because usually those they're not worth it to listen to. They're so hard to listen to sometimes. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I will get it. I haven't bought it off Kiss Online. I was kind of gonna wait for maybe this time the black vinyl off of when it gets onto Amazon and get it there, because I'm up to excited about the custard or what do you want to call it, pea colored, you know, I was telling Lonnie or like it's the color IP Freely by, or what was it? No. Yeah.
IP
Custard or the Yellow Album or whatever it was by IP Freely.
I said Colonel Mustard in the dining room at the Candlestick.
It's almost a beer color, you know. You think about it, make it more exciting than custard or something. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be a cool thing to listen to finally and have in my collection.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not Binghamton, because I lived in Binghamton in '84 and wasn't a Kiss fan. So I could have gone to one of the few Mark St. John shows by being in the right place at the right time, but I was not a fan at that point. So, Lonnie, did you pontificate?
You know, I think I was really blown away when the announcement came out that they were doing this. I mean, who would have thought that the first, I guess, really official live recording with Eric Carr would feature Mark St. John? That's really, really kind of mind blowing. You know, I didn't think that this would. You know, I was hoping for something 80s, and we've talked about this, you know, often, that we were hoping for something 80s or just something from the Unmasked period. And the fact that it's this was like really, really mind blowing, I think, to a lot of us. Like, oh my gosh, like, really? So, you know, if they were going to do something 80s or something for the Unmasked period, I really thought we'd do something with that great Hot in the Shade set list with Eric Carr. But the fact that it's this, you know, we ribbed on Kiss a little bit ago about not celebrating the 50th anniversary, but the fact that it's this, I mean, maybe they are listening to, or somebody's listening to the Die Hard somewhere, because they really shifted away from, you know, like, oh, we're going to put out Virginia Beach 2004, And I think that just was just a thud. Like everybody was like, really? Like I have a soundboard from that already from 2004. Really? This is what we're going to put out and you're trying to get me again? But the fact we're putting this out, not only is it Mark St. John, but like Julian said, like there's some Mark St. John recordings out there, but nobody even knew this existed. So I think it's great. As much as we get on here and kind of get on Kiss about missing the boat on things, this and that, I think that they're putting this out is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, and I'm just about finished with Volume 2 for the 50th anniversary of the On Tour, which covers this whole era. So it's nice to be able to include that now with the confirmed set list for that show. Anyone bothered by the partial tracks? Obviously, being recorded to tape means that you sometimes get a tape flip in an inadvertent area or inconvenient area. And on this one, Young and Wasted, which was the first tour that Eric sang that song, is a bit of a bummer. And the end of Rock and Roll All Night, which I don't think anyone is going to whine about that.
I need a good version of Rock and Roll.
But it's also clearly been fit onto a single CD. Does that bother anyone, or is it all? This is all good. This is all. It's Eric Carr. It's something odd in terms of the band's history, so it's okay.
I don't think. Sorry, go on, Lonnie.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say I'm not really too bothered by it not being a double CD. I mean, at that time, I don't think they were doing extremely long shows, if my memory serves me correctly. So maybe that just it wasn't going to pan out to be a double CD regardless. I mean, we have a couple of double ones from the prior ones. I believe Donington was a double CD, and a couple of the other ones. I think Des Moines was a single CD as well. But just like the Chad Kaufman says, I want full shows, but it is what it is. I'd at least the songs that got cut, like the one Rock and Roll Night, is one that we can probably like not be too upset about. At least the most of the concert is there, and being involved before with my own band, having board tapes done, there's always that moment where they're gonna have to quickly just do the old stop and flip it and put it on again. So unless you have like a reel-to-reel machine or you have a really long format that you can burn onto, just be happy that we have a good version of this show the way we have it now. I'm happy with it. There's nothing really that I'm too upset about in that manner.
Yeah. Everyone else, Lonnie, you were gonna have a thought?
We don't know what partial recording is. We don't know how much or how little of those songs it is. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm also happy the fact that because that they're partials, there's 2 different partial songs on there. They're not like, but we're just not going to put this out because it's not a full show. So we're just going to ignore it. I'm glad that we are actually getting this and it's not being ignored. So I can't wait for it.
Yeah, and my reaction to partials was, wow, they're including those. That's great, because I would have been mad if they'd cut out the partial Young and Wasted, because, again, that was Eric Carr's first time singing that, taking over from Gene to offload so that he could, get a break. I would have been annoyed if that had been edited out. So, again, when you've been around tapes and collecting from that perspective for so many years, you kind of get used to partials and interruptions. I look forward to hearing how they've handled it. There's a post on the FAQ that suggests someone's heard how it's been handled, but I can't, verify whether that's accurate or not. Wait to judge by my own ears. Ken, Daniel, thoughts?
What I think is most important is that they are finally embracing the unmasked period. I mean, they've been ignoring it for such a long time, and a lot of us here on the panel are fans of the unmasked era. I mean, some of us like the Revenge album, some of us like Asylum, and so on. So I think I'm hoping for the floodgates to open now. Let's see Wembley 92. Let's see some of the 94 shows. Let's see something from the Asylum show and so on. So I think it's a very good sign.
Yep. All right. Final word, Ken.
Yeah, I agree. It's all good. As far as the partial tracks, if you don't like them, you can skip them. It's just as simple as that. So I think it's great that they're including them. You have a choice. You want to listen to them, you can listen to them. You don't. That's fine. But I think it's good that they're they're doing it and allowing people that So I guess they won't get any, feedback or critical talk or gossip about, they left it. This is not a real show. They pulled this one off. They're missing these 2 songs, that kind of crap that happens. So, I mean, they covered themselves, and it's there, even though it's partial, whatever. It is what it is at that point.
Yep, it's all good. This is what we've been waiting for. They got it right with the Creatures box set with the live stuff there. Now we're getting a soundboard from the Mark St. John lineup. He's been gone for many years now, so no longer with us. Is about to be represented by that. I've seen a lot of comments about Peter Criss in North Carolina on the 16th and 17th. And Mad Monster Party in Carolina 2023, February the 17th and 18th in Concord. Go to petercriss.net for all the information on Peter's appearance there. I'm looking forward to that because I'm going to be attending. So that should be a fun weekend. All right, let's get into talking about other podcasts behind their backs. Podcast Rock City did what I think is a really good interview with Doc McGee last Sunday. It was pre-recorded but broadcast live. And you know what? From the perspective of the sort of questions that you're going to ask someone when you interview them for either a project or a podcast, you're not always going to be able to ask them the questions that everyone wants you to ask them. So from that perspective, I thought they did a fantastic job of making it an entertaining interview with Doc. A lot of it was, kind of the usual stuff you'd expect to him to address and to be asked. But you got Doc McGee on your show, and they have to be applauded for pulling that one off. Mm-hmm. I thought Lee had the best questions for him because they weren't Kiss questions. They were, out of left field ones to really.
What's your favorite Kiss song? I think you asked a few of those.
Yeah,
as well.
that was one.
They were good.
Yeah, there. What Kiss song do you never want to hear again? Stuff like that.
Rock and Roll 90s.
It was a fun interview, and also some deprecating humor of Chip Magoo. It's always good when Chip Magoo comes into the conversation. So, Lonnie, were you able to check that out, and what were your thoughts on it? What were some high points?
Yeah, I was able to check it out. It was good. I like you guys said, you can't be like the menacing reporter. He's going to agree to come on the show, and I'm sure there's some parameters set immediately. Like, hey, we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to talk about that. You guys want this? Well, this is how we're going to do it. I thought it was great. Kudos to that Doc McGee. That's freaking amazing. They were able to get him on there. And it was a fun conversation. It was just a fun conversation, I thought, with him. Which Doc doesn't do a lot of interviews, I don't think, anyway. And to get him on there, I thought it was great. It was fun. It was a fun listen during my very sad week.
Wah, 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 wah.
It helped you through a difficult period of your life.
Yes.
What the hell happened this week, Lonnie? I'm in the dark here. What has
my
happened?
Football team got screwed on Sunday. Is what
You're talking about American football now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I got it.
We'll wake you when he's done talking about it.
Yeah, his team played against another team and the refs.
Yeah,
it was
the refs were unfair to your team.
And the fact that it was the Chiefs is just the worst because I hate St. Louis Chiefs fans. They're the absolute worst. Like, whoa, we're from Missouri.
You have two teams.
We don't. No, we don't. No. We have one team in Missouri, and they're the Kansas City Chiefs.
Very upset about
I hate everything about Kansas City. And these people that say, "Oh, we should root for the Chiefs because they're from Missouri." Well, I'll buy you a fucking Royals hat. Sorry if I curse on the show, but I can't.
Yeah, that's the first time I think.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. Oh, there you go.
Getting heated.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I have sympathy for you, Lonnie. I'm very upset.
Anyways,
with your
back
team.
to Doc McGee.
Yes, back to Doc. So I watched a bit of it as well. I'm going to try to keep it positive because I know that people say that I tend to spin things negatively a lot. But look, it's Doc McGee. And like you guys said, he's probably going to go up there and talk about certain things. The managers are like lawyers. They're going to spin everything, and they're going to answer a question by not answering it. That's how they like to do these things. You know, you ask them something and they never give you a straight answer with anything. You know, I mean, I didn't watch it also. I don't know if some of these things that I would have loved to have asked him were asked. Like, I don't think did they ask him at all about the Dubai thing, what's going on with that? No. I don't think they did. You know, and well, you know, that's why I don't particularly get interested in these sort of interviews, because they never give you straight answers with anything. If you give him the softball questions and just lob them in there, sure, he's going to give you great answers. But anything that requires some sort of, you know, deep down reporting and something that's going to, you know, really make people stand up and pay attention to, he's not going to answer any of this stuff. So, you know, that's why I watched a bit of it. I don't get me wrong, I love the guys from Podcast Rock City. I've been on there a few times myself with my band stuff, and just even with just talking about Kiss stuff. And I love those guys. So I have nothing ill to say about them, but you know, you have Doc on there. Sure, it was a big score to get him on there, and it is. But the day that he starts actually answering questions that are of some sort of importance, that's when I'm going to start being more interested in his interviews.
Yeah. So Ken, are you disappointed that no one pointedly asked him, "Hey, so what's going on about Dubai? How's the investigation going?"
No one put their.
Well, why can't they? Like, what's the?
Yeah, I was. Of course, hoping that someone would say something. But I guess that's maybe they're thinking it's a excuse me, a touchy subject, and they don't want to, you know, cause problems and make Doc mad or something like that. That's all I can figure. But yeah, I would have asked it. You know, it's like I would have asked, "Oh, Doc, you know, how's that Dubai, you know, thing coming along? Is where are we at with that?" And I heard Paul Stanley was on it. You know, said he was working on it. You know, he actually tweeted that. You know, he's on hard. It. So what about that? Is Paul actually working on it? You know, or whatever?
No, that was exactly what we said it was at the time. Get away from me.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you know, whatever. You know, I'm not surprised they didn't ask it, I guess. But otherwise, I thought it was interesting. A couple of tidbits where he says, talking about the future of Kiss will continue, right? Without Gene and Paul and stuff. And he's talking about, you know, technology. When he started talking about technology, you know, well, you know, technology has come a long way. And, you know, so it makes me think that they're going to try to copy ABBA or something like that, you know, do some kind of hologram graphic, you know, kind of concerts with Kiss. Is it possible? Maybe. It's a lot.
If they can find someone who'll pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that's going to cost a lot of money. Or maybe you can go with ABBA and work a deal out there to use their technology and have those concerts out there in that facility that they built just to have these concerts. So I thought of that. And I guess this other option is still the, you know, Kiss 2.0. They keep talking about that. They may really try to do it. I don't know. But
let them try.
Otherwise, it's the standard interview, and there's some cool little tidbits. And he did mention, Doc mentioned that, you know, there is going to be an announcement. He said 10 days, so 10 days from. So I would think next week we will hear.
Well, we're 9 days on from the day that was recorded, by the way. They said that it was recorded on the Thursday prior to the Sunday.
So we'll probably hear it Monday, if anything, but I'll believe it when I hear it.
But Kiss numbers are different than everyone else's counting.
Right. That, yeah.
10 days. Basically,
I don't know.
It may have meant just go away.
Yeah. So we'll see. I guess they are planning things, and hopefully we'll hear what's going on. Hopefully it'll be something exciting.
All right, Danny, you catch any of this one?
Yeah, I watched it, and I just have to give props out to Podcast Rock City. I know people say there are a lot of Kiss podcasts going on. I don't know if I listen to a whole lot of Kiss podcasts, but this is one that I go to kind of frequent, and I do like, you know, Pooney, is that his name? Pooney?
Sunny.
Yeah. He put on
good
some cool, like game shows. Some of them are really too hard questions, so no one has a chance of answering anything. But sometimes he really hit the nail. So I like those, and I think the leader, I don't know what his name is.
Joe Polo.
Joe. Yeah.
Joe. Yeah, there's one Joe and there's one Joey, and I confuse them all. Yeah, but I think Joe seems to be very into Kiss, and he seems to be, like burning for Kiss. It's his thing. So that goes through the screen somewhat. So I like watching him, and he feels like a real true fan. So I kind of enjoy their episodes. I think they're doing a great job, and of course landing Doc McGee is awesome. And but what I took away from this interview was that I really liked Doc McGee. I mean, he was extremely funny, and he was kind of realistic in his views. He said, "Kiss is all about entertainment. We're like Disney World. We're putting on a show. We want to sell stuff, so we see what people like, and we put the Kiss, the Kiss sign or the Kiss symbol on that stuff, and we sell it, and we earn some." I think it was much more honest than Gene and Paul, who always think that they are kind of hip and cool. But Doc was more down to earth. I think we're a nostalgia act. We sell stuff. We're all about entertainment. We're Disney World. We're Star Wars, and we put out stuff and we sell it, and people like it. And if you don't like it, get the hell out of here. So I enjoyed the interview. I think it was really funny, and of course the interview, Joe and the other guys and the girl had a lot of cool questions. So I think it was a great interview. It was one of the better ones in quite some time. So good job, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I go into interviews that I've done for projects with the hang-up question. That's the question that they may or may not hang up on you after you ask. And in many cases, we've never gotten to it because the interview takes on a life of its own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you prepped for an interview, you've got a whole bunch of questions, and you're not going sequentially. You're going where the interviewee is taking you because you want to let them speak and you want to let them develop the conversation, because I think it comes across a much better or more candidly than going, all right, on such and such a date. It's just going to be boring ass if you do it that way. So I thought they did a great job. Again, it's great to land him. Of course, he's going to answer some things the way he did. The only part I could have done without is the stroking. Mr. Trickster, 30 years ago. I'm sure.
Yeah, that was
best manager in the
bit
in
embarrassing.
The world. Yeah. But I'm sorry. I love you and your band. But I was looking at my clock saying, you're taking away 3 minutes away from asking another question with this. That was my only minor criticism, but it was fun. It was so fun, and everyone was really engaging on it. So well done. Let's move on to a couple of last quick topics. The new Kiss book, Portraits, is up for pre-order.
Another photo book.
A photo book available for pre-order from a reputable publisher in the UK. Anyone seen that? Anyone planning on buying it? It's basically a vehicle for Ross Halfwit to get his photos out with some other photos by a few others, all packaged up. I think the deluxe edition was like £495, which is the pound so weak. That's the equivalent of dollars now. I ain't buying because I just don't do photo books. Ken?
Yeah, that one, expense-wise, and I don't think I'm going to get anything extra that I'm looking for. So I probably won't purchase it myself either.
Yep. Lonnie? Mark?
I have not yet, but I just think it's amazing that these people are able to put out these books with pictures in them, because I mean, we're led to believe it's such a monumental task that I find it mind blowing.
What that it needs $250,000 of your money first before you can start working.
Yeah. It's a complete shock.
Where was the GoFundMe for this project? I must have missed it.
Good God! I mean, there must have even been a business plan for these.
To me, it's we've seen a lot of photo books from Kiss in the 70s, so it's, I don't know, I don't think I'll get it. What I would like to see is photo books or some sort of books focusing on, the unmasked era once again. I've been waiting for that guy Nico who had Strike magazine back in the 90s. I liked that magazine, and he shot a lot of great. He was a great photographer.
He's a
took a lot of great shots of Kiss during the Revenge era, for example. A lot of great shots. The one in the booklet of Alive 3, when he breathes fire, Gene. That's one of his shots, for example, and he has loads of them. But he's never done a book. And that kind of perplexed me. I think he should do one, and I think it would sell pretty well. So put that together, Nico, and I'll buy at least one copy of you.
Yeah,
There's our friend from Limerick, Ireland. How you guys doing? Thanks for joining us.
I haven't ordered it, and I don't know. I'm just not into those kind of books too much, to be honest with you. So I'm going to probably pass on it. But yeah.
Just a quick question. Just a quick question to Ken. I was just about to order this book called "I Stole Your Love." I know you ordered it. Have you read it? Is it any good?
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
I think it's from a fan's perspective, a bit more from a fan.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun book.
I'll get it.
Kind of relive your fandom in a way through that person.
Yeah.
And it was a good, interesting story and fun to read. I mean, I went through it pretty quickly. When I remember.
I always like those kind of unique books. Unique takes on Kiss. A photo book. We've all seen the 70s photos, even though they look great. I mean, we've done that, but from a fan's perspective, I think that's kind of interesting.
It's been a couple of those books. There's been a couple of those type fan perspective books, written out there, and they're enjoyable. They're different, but they're enjoyable though.
I still have several of those books sitting behind me that I haven't even had a chance to read yet. But then again, I'm usually too busy. New episode of Song Stories drops tomorrow. The most recent one was Life in the Woods,
which was excellent.
Easy. Do a conga line outside of your local venue. Last topic for the day is a quick and easy one for everyone. I don't know if you saw the thread. Public Enemy #1.
No.
Who in the ranks of Kiss world is the current #1 enemy to Kiss fandom? We've just talked about photo books, and that person was indeed listed on that hit list, along with a dead guy and Vinnie Vincent. Who do you think is the most damaging person to Kiss these days? Is it themselves? Is it Doc? Is it a fan? Is it a fan who did a runner with $250,000?
You know what?
Fellow fans' money. Mark,
I gotta jump in with this, because when you're saying this now, it kind of makes me realize something. We're hitting on the man who took the $250,000 to make a book a lot, but you know what? Kiss are no better. They did the same shit with the Dubai. In fact, that's probably more than $250,000 they took from people with all these platinum and gold things that everybody got involved with. That got fuck all, quite frankly, from them. So who's worse, the $250,000 for the book guy, or Kiss, who took more than that from you and you still haven't gotten nothing, yet you continue to go and buy stuff from them still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw that thread. I did answer it. They only gave you three choices or something.
Yeah, there was only 3,
and I didn't even choose any of those 3. I just thought of it. And I wrote what did I say? Landmarks and Kiss, and as it equals, it's equals Dubai. That's what I put. I mean that. So that's the thing. Kiss is their own enemy in that one.
Yes.
They signed with that group, and they didn't follow up on what they're doing. They obviously approved the merch. They had to approve all that stuff to be done as part of the contracts. But they're not just going to let them sell the stuff without, approving it first. And nothing came through. It's their own. To me, it's a big mark or bad mark on KISS.
It's a middle finger to the fans
to not, provide some resolution to the whole thing, whether it's refunds or the actual merch or some other merch or something, or a credit to their KISS online store, even something to give back to those people that lost money, a lot of money, actually.
Yeah. $1,000.
Yeah,
it's not a small amount of money.
The big VIPs,
and even if you lost $100, it's still $100 is a lot of money. $10 is a lot of money to someone somewhere. It doesn't matter. Enemy of KISS is themselves with stuff like Landmark. I'm not going to blame Vinnie Vincent. You know what? If there's a rabid raccoon down the road biting people, it's just doing what a rabid raccoon does. Vinnie Vincent's going to Vinnie Vincent. But then again, he's at least doing events now and showing up for them. Ross and the book. Did he set out to rip off people $250,000? I do not believe that for a moment. I think he found himself in over his head, and then life took over, and he hasn't handled it well. KISS is a business, so I'm gonna totally side with Ken here. Not only because he's reasonable, but I think because they do own the most accountability for their actions and behaviors, more so than a fan. And then the other person who's listed on it, nothing can currently be proven about that. And I don't even want to go there into the whole Loomis shit. So, KISS has been their own worst enemy. And I'm not going to blame the car wash guy, because I wouldn't have seen half as many KISS shows if I had. Any last thoughts on that, Daniel?
Yeah.
Lonnie?
Lonnie?
I think you guys are right. I mean, that KISS has always branded themselves as the band about the fans, for the fans, by the fans. And I think you guys are spot on with who's KISS's biggest enemy these days. I mean, I think it is themselves. I mean, the whole Landmarks thing, people say, well, it's not KISS's fault, it's Landmark's fault, blah, 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 blah. If KISS could really, really just do something up here, really, really right, and really, really forthcoming, and just reimburse everybody their money, or even like Ken said, give them a credit to the KISS online store, it would cost KISS nothing to do that. Nothing.
It would cost KISS all that money.
But in the scheme of things, it's nothing.
How much more money do you need?
It's in the scheme of things.
In the scheme of things, it's greater than zero.
I get it, but it'd be a gesture to be about the fans, for the fans.
Yeah, it would be righteous.
Believe me, they got a lot of money from the fans already throughout the years for a lot of shit. From
and
toilet paper and all kinds of shit that people should never needed to probably buy and did just to support them. So why not give back a little to those people who got ripped off? I understand what Lonnie's going.
We started off this show bemoaning not being able to buy shit from them for the 50th.
Full circle.
And we're finishing this show with Lonnie wanting a store credit so we don't have to buy shit to sell it. There we go. That's a whole bunch of topics. We've gone through a whole bunch of things today on this live episode. I want to give everyone a shout out who's joined us. We do appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday morning when there's no interesting sports. Liverpool freaking lost to watch. It's fun to get together and do this format. So we do appreciate you joining us with your comments. It gives us tangents to go off when we do these shows. But for now, from who the hell? Oh yeah, from Mark, from Lonnie, Ken, and myself, thanks for joining us, and we shall see you next time.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.